Time now for What the Farage. And despite flatline approval ratings and even worse cognitive decline, Joe Biden confirmed today that he plans to run for US president again next year. At 80 years old, the doddery bloke is already the oldest US president in history and would be 86 at the end of his second term if he wins. But he launched his bid regardless today with a dramatic campaign video featuring rioting at the US Capitol by Trump supporters, and despite calling for unity, took aim at so-called MAGA extremists of the Republican Party.
Freedom, personal freedom, is fundamental to who we are as Americans.
There's nothing more important, nothing more sacred.
That's been the work of my first term. But you know, around the country, MAGA extremists are lining up to take on those bedrock freedoms, cutting Social Security that you paid for your entire life while cutting taxes for the very wealthy, dictating what health care decisions women can make. There's nothing, simply nothing we cannot do if we do it together.
Nigel Farage, a damning poll from The Times reveals Americans want change, with just 26% saying geriatric Biden should run again. So as Donald Trump looms, could Biden's stubborn refusal here to retire cost Democrats dearly?
Yes, of course it could, but of course the Democrats have nobody else. I mean, who else is there? Maybe Hillary Clinton, maybe Gavin Newsom of the failed state of California. I mean, they literally don't have anybody else. What is surprising isn't that Biden's announced he's running again, but that Kamala Harris is going to be the running mate. I mean, she has been in control of immigration policy. You think we've got a problem with the English Channel? 6 million people have crossed that southern border, and she's barely even been down to visit it. So look, I mean, the whole thing's an absolute joke. There are plenty of 80-year-olds who are mentally and physically fit enough to do that job. Joe Biden, sadly, isn't one of them. He's a complete old duffer. He's a total embarrassment to America. And as leader of the free world, remember, this matters to us hugely as well. With the great global challenges we face of China and everything else, this really is. On one level, it's appalling. But on the other level, it's a complete open goal to the Trump campaign if, and here's the key thing, the Trump campaign have to offer a vision, once again, of the sunlit uplands and not replay what went wrong in the so-called stolen election of 2020. And I feel that very strongly. And, you know, Trump's a friend of mine and he and I disagree on this, but they've got to start looking forwards.
No, indeed. Trump last night, Nigel, we're actually going to play the clip later in the show, but he suggested that Biden actually had to record that message rather than give a live statement because his team was so worried he was going to muck it up. And to be honest, he still didn't sound great, even though that was probably recorded multiple times.
Yeah, look, I mean, you know, he's done fewer press interviews than any American president in 40 years. We saw it in Ireland, didn't we? You know, when he referred to the All Blacks rugby team, he referred to the black and tans, which is, talk about red rags to the Republican bull. I mean, goodness gracious me. Yeah, he can't take questions. He's not up to it. You know, he shakes hands with people that don't actually exist. He falls up and down, you know, escalators, you know, steps up to and from aeroplanes. I mean, the whole thing is utterly ridiculous. And I remember when I was younger, looking at Soviet leaders who were elderly and clearly not up to the job. This bloke is not up to the job, but it's good news for the Trump campaign. It really is.